everyone, it's Martin Tennant here again. Thanks for joining me for another guitar lesson. Today we're going to be covering some basic fingerstyle picking patterns that you could use if you want to. If you're interested in more picking style of guitar and you want to get you've never done it before and you want to get a basic grasp on the technique and some ideas that you can do to pick up this technique and develop on it and improve it, then this lesson will help you on the way to that. I will show you what the basic technique and fundamentals are involved in fingerstyle picking, at least the way I do it. Everyone does it in a slightly different way. Not everyone who does it the exact same way. And some people, if you see other people who do it on the internet or other teachers, you'll see that everyone has a slightly different way of doing it. And this video I'm going to show you the way I do it personally, the way I was taught. And take it away, and if it works for you, then that's great, and then you can take it away and you can adapt it and maybe develop your own style from using my way of doing it. But anyway, let's just get straight into it. So I'm going to start off by explaining the basic technique fundamentals for fingerstyle picking, and then we'll go into learning a couple of basic fingerstyle picking. Okay, so just quickly want to point out that for all of the examples of picking patterns I'm going to include in the series are going to be used while playing a C major chord, just your standard C major chord on the open position. That way though, you'll be able to practice and sound the same as me in the video. As long as you can play your C major chord, you'll be able to follow along with these picking patterns. So let's start off by addressing the fundamentals of fingerstyle picking. So basically the way I do it, for the most part, is I do a sort of based on a Travis style picking. Travis is when you're using your thumb to get all the bass notes, and you're using your index, your middle finger and your ring finger, and also your pinky to a less extent, to get the other strings, and particularly the higher strings, like the high E for instance. But I tend to use my thumb for the bass notes. For the other notes, I tend to use for the most part just my index finger and my middle finger to get all the notes, because the picking patterns I do, this kind of works well for doing that. But you can use, sometimes on an odd occasion we'll use my third finger as well. I hardly ever use my pinky, only on certain occasions will I do that. So, and the best way to think of it is to think of it in terms of numbers. So just like you have the 6th string, the 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd and 1st strings, you'll have a number system for the right hand. So your thumb will be your 1st, your index finger will be 2nd, your middle finger will be 3rd, your ring finger will be 4th, and your pinky will be 5. So it's kind of similar to the number system with the piano. Start off with a very, very, very basic picking pattern, and it goes like this. Now that's literally only 2 notes. I'm just really going back and forth between 2 notes and using 2 fingers. So this will be a nice one for people, for you beginners or anyone who's new to this technique and never done anything like this before. This is a really good one to help you just get used to the feel of moving back and forth between the strings and getting the right sort of movement there, because you don't want to press too hard when you're picking the strings, because you might cause a snap, which you might not necessarily want for this style, or there'll be an extra buzz, or you could even you can lose all control and you get all strings that you don't want. You want your hand to be nice and steady and barely moving. You only want enough movement so that your fingers are hitting the strings and hard enough to get the right dynamics. The other thing is, be careful if you're too elegant, you can actually kind of brush it so it sounds weak, or you can just kind of miss it. So just watch out for that too when you're learning this technique for the first time. It's also a good idea to practice this using a metronome. because if you don't practice this with a metronome at slow speed, you will. It's just like with sweep picking or with just learning new skills. You just won't be able to play it nice, even and consistently without the use of a metronome practicing on time. It'll just sound all over the place. What this actual picking pattern is, I'm basically rocking back and forth between the A and the D strings, still with the C major chord down. So thumb is playing the A string and index finger is playing the D string. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2. It's really as simple as that, and you just keep that going. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then you can play it a bit faster once you're comfortable at that speed. And eventually you'll get to. And that sounds like your average sort of traditional funk song, isn't it? Or a Mumford & Sons song, perhaps. Another picking pattern that's a little bit of a step up from that, but nonetheless is pretty straightforward, goes like this. What we have here, again, we're only really using we're only using the thumb and the index finger here, but we're kind of, there's a bit more movement going on with the thumb for this one. So basically what's going on here is the thumb is playing strings A and strings D and going back and forth between the two, so we've got a kind of sort of almost like a sort of bass line going on there. And in between those notes, the index finger is playing the G string. It's just stuck in that position, just plucking the G string between. Combine those together, you should get A, G, D, G. A, G, D, G. Numbers wise, that would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's try it a bit faster. And a little bit faster still. It's a good idea when you're doing this also, as you could see if you look closely at the bottom half of the guitar, that I've actually got my two fingers here, my middle and my ring finger, clamped onto the B and the E strings. They're not playing them, they're just got a tight grip on it. The reason I'm doing that is to keep control of my right hand. If I weren't using those strings to grip on, these fingers will be flying about over the place and your control will be significantly, you can still be there, but you'll find it a lot harder to gain control unless you develop the agility and the technique to do it without assistance. But I find it personally easier and a lot more easy to to maintain control if I have at least one finger or two fingers using one of the higher strings as support. Anchoring, I think the word is anchoring my hand in the position. It really does help, and even if you do that initially, so you can get used to just keeping your hand in the one position, that's fine. And you can, if you want to do it without it after a while and you're able to do it, then that's fine also. But wait, just make sure that you avoid those fingers flailing about all over the place and catching open strings that we don't want, or just causing your hand to lose control, because we don't want that. Make sure that the hand is locked in that one position the whole time. The important thing with this technique is consistency and the ability to maintain that one position without too much movement. We want the minimum amount of movement as possible to get the job done. Now let's try a more difficult one. We're going to use 4 out of 6 strings now. This is a really nice pick pattern. It's used quite a lot in folk music. You'll hear this a lot if you listen to a lot of old traditional folk music from the 60s. There's also a lot of contemporary music that uses this type of picking style as well, pick pattern. It sounds really good if you speed it up a little bit. So what's going on here? Well, we're using 3 fingers this time for a start, so immediately we've got a bit more going on with the right hand. So the strings that we're picking is A, G, then D, then C, and then repeat that. So it's A, G, D, B, A, G, B, B. And the fingers are, first finger, thumb, plays the A. Then we've got the first finger, index finger, playing the G. Thumb comes up to play the D. And then we're going to use the middle finger, third finger this time, and get the B string. So it's thumb, index, thumb, middle. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. And you just keep that going. So let's try a bit of it now at the same speed, just keep it nice and slow. Now let's try a little faster. Faster still. Speed. Now if you accidentally get like the high E in there when you're playing this particular chord, the C chord, don't worry about it because it'll still work. And quite often with finger styling, picking, you'll hear a lot of players will just kind of, they may get a note that they're not necessarily were aiming for, but they just carry on playing anyway because it still works. As long as the string in question that was accidentally hit still is part of the chord and it works, then there's no reason why you can't just include it. So don't worry about too much if you get any the wrong note in there, but you still just carry on regardless. The next one is similar. We're using the same strings, but we're going to be playing them in a different order. So I like to call this the outside-inside pattern. And here's why. We've got this. So we've got the first 2 notes are the notes that are on the outside of the chord. We've got the A below, and then we've got the B string at the top. So that's the outside part, and then we're going to finish it off by playing the 2 notes on the inside of the chord. So that will be the D followed by the G. So it's like outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside. So you see what I mean? Now fingering wise, we have thumb playing the A, then we've got middle playing the B. Thumb plays the D, then index plays the G. So thumb, middle, thumb, index. Outside, inside, outside, inside. to speed. It's a really nice drum pattern, isn't it? Outside, inside, outside, inside. Make sure it's nice and consistent. Only minimal amount of movement as possible. 3 fingers. A little bit up to speed. Right, last one for this lesson is a little different. Because unlike the last ones that we've covered up until now, we've been doing ones that are basically in 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this time, this one's going to be focusing on a time signature of 6/8. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're playing a different time signature with this one, and we're going to be incorporating the ring finger, the 4th finger this time. One of the few times that we'll be using that in the series. So what we have, we're going picking downwards or upwards, depending on which way you want to look at it. I like to think upwards in terms of pitch. Some people like to think downwards in terms of going down the strings. But we're picking downwards from A, D, G, B, and then from B we go back down again. So we go to G, D, and then start again. A, D, G, B, G, D, A. So like that. Fingers. Basically for this one, I would recommend doing it more of a classical style for this one. But I've been doing the Travis one beforehand, where you're just using your thumb, index, and middle for the most part. This time, a classical style I think is a bit more appropriate for this one. It's a little bit easier. So the idea for this one is a finger for each string. Simple as that. The 4 fingers out of the 5 is being used. Each finger is devoted to one string. So we have thumb, that will be focused on the A string, index will be focused on the D, middle, G, and 4th finger, ring finger, will be for the B. So for this pattern it will be thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, and then you repeat. Might take a little bit of time to get used to, because it's a bit different to the other ones, and you have to learn to clamp your fingers quite close together. If they're too far apart, then they might not be precise enough. You might not be precise enough, particularly if you've got large hands and fingers like I have. You may need to find that you have to clamp your fingers quite close together in order to be very precise and accurate, and try not to hit any other strings like I did just there. That'll take a little bit of practice, just getting used to working out what suits you best. But just practice the technique, nice and slow. In fact, I would probably go, when you put on the metronome, I would say 50 beats per minute would be good. That's pretty slow, but you really need to go nice and slow for this one, because this one can be pretty tough to get to speed. So just take it slow like that. Beginning, when you're practicing these patterns, this applies to all of them, don't worry too much about accidentally beating out any of the strings. Just worry more about getting the timing right, as accurate as you possibly can, and hitting all the right notes at the right times, and just build up your speed and your technique, and you'll eventually get to like this. Nice, moderately good speed is what you're aiming